We hope you enjoy today's story. It was Friday evening in our kitchen. Linda was still somewhat perplexed as we entered through the door separating our garage from the kitchen. I placed 4 bags, each bearing the logo of an upscale shopping center, on the kitchen table. Linda inquired, for the 50th time, as to the nature of the situation. I presented the anniversary gift, which was a bottle of Marrow, Linda's favorite. I proceeded to open the bottle and pour each of us a glass. We then clinked our glasses in silence. I then proceeded to the kitchen table, where I retrieved a set of turquoise lingerie from the Victoria's Secret bag. I informed Linda that I would require her to perform a specific act the following morning. I then instructed Linda to retrieve 5 additional sexy sets from the drawer and pack them in a suitcase. As she appeared confused, I showed her the blue bikini we had just purchased. I also brought down your summer clothes from the attic. Please go through the drawers and find 5 more similar bikinis. You will need 5 additional outfits. With a deep neckline that we had purchased and 5 dresses like these, I rummaged through the last bag and pulled out a stunning short dark blue dress designed to accentuate my wife's remarkable bust and her impressive long athletic legs. Chris, please elucidate the rationale behind this decision. We are leaving at an early hour on Sunday morning, flying to Miami and heading directly to our cruise liner for a 6-day cruise was planned in honor of the couple's anniversary. The celebration was intended to be a respite from the demands of work. However, Linda expressed concern about the implications of this decision. She had arranged for the vacation through Mary, a colleague, a month prior. Linda expressed her excitement about the upcoming vacation. She threw herself into her partner's arms, embracing him tightly. Her hands grasped his neck, while her legs wrapped around his waist. The couple's embrace was accompanied by a passionate kiss. Linda's lips pressed against her partner's, while her tongue explored his mouth. The intensity of the moment was evident in Linda's flushed cheeks and the urgency of her kiss. The couple's sexual energy was palpable. Linda expressed her gratitude to her partner through their intimate encounter on Sunday morning. Upon arrival at the airport, he proceeded to occupy rather spacious business class seats and prepared for the inaugural leg of our vacation. Linda then turned to him and stated, "I am astonished that I allowed you to persuade me to leave the phone at home." She continued, "We are on vacation, my love. Let us put Connecticut behind us and simply enjoy each other's company for a few days. There is no need for anyone to see photographs of us drinking tequila and San Juan. I am aware of this, and I am not complaining. However, I request that you check your phone for any emergency messages each morning." He replied, "I have promised to do so, but I will not turn on my phone until." At the end of each day, Linda reached for my head and pulled me towards her. She kissed me passionately, and our tongues danced together as our plane began to taxi for takeoff. On Sunday, aboard the Caribbean Star, we made love long and passionately. On Monday afternoon at San Juan Beach, we strolled slowly along the water's edge for over a kilometer. We were not in a hurry, we walked leisurely, hand in hand. Linda was dressed in a green bikini that accentuated her chest. The majority of the bottom half of her swimsuit was tucked between her enticing cheeks. She then cast her gaze around, noting that we were situated on a less populated portion of the beach. She proceeded to remove the beach towel from my shoulder and deposit it on the sand, along with a water bottle. Thereafter, she took my hand and led me into the ocean as we entered the water. We reached a point where the water reached Linda's shoulders. She then proceeded to pull my swim trunks down to my hips. Thereafter, she threw herself into my arms and pleaded, "Please make love to me." I then placed Linda's hands on my shoulders and wrapped my arms around her. My wife's buttocks lifted her onto my waist. We spent almost an hour making love in the saltwater. Neither of us reached orgasm, but this was not a significant issue. The experience was highly romantic. On Tuesday evening, aboard the ship, the dance floor was filled with 20 or 30 couples. We held each other tightly in a slow dance as the pianist played one of our favorite Frank Sinatra songs. I will have to exercise twice a day to burn off the food and drink we have consumed. I gave Linda a playful slap on her firm buttocks and said, "You could." Despite gaining another 25 kilos, my wife still retained her stunning appearance. I was reassured and content to enjoy the remaining few days. On Wednesday morning at dawn, I observed my sleeping wife, lying naked next to me. I reflected that we had not needed to pack her sexy lingerie, as we slept completely nude every night. Over the past 3 days, Linda's body had acquired tan lines, which I found particularly attractive. The top of each breast was beginning to bronze, while the underside remained white, except for a hickey I had left beneath her right nipple. Her stomach was my abdominal muscles were toned and flat, the result of hours spent at the gym. I arose from bed without disturbing Linda and proceeded to the bathroom. After completing my morning routine, I sighed and activated my mobile phone, which was set to silent mode to prevent any notifications, beeps, or calls from disturbing my sleeping partner. As was the case in the previous 3 mornings, the phone was inundated with messages. I swiftly scanned through 30 text messages and deleted each one, aside from the number of emails. I checked a few emails related to work and one for my lawyer, leaving the rest untouched. The voicemail inbox was full. Each message was deleted, with the exception of the voicemail from Linda's lawyer. The voicemail was urgent, demanding that Linda call home immediately on Thursday afternoon in Nassau. In the previous few days, Linda had met with Jerry and Ellie, as well as Roger and Sue. Each couple was several years older than Linda. Linda and the others had encountered each other while looking for food in Nassau. They found a beachside burger restaurant with swings hanging from the ceiling by ropes. Linda sat in one of the swings on one side of the table, next to Ellie and Sue. Linda was seated across from me, surrounded by Jerry and Roger. We spent a very pleasant 2 hours eating, drinking, and discussing our lives. When it came time to settle the bill, Ellie inquired about our plans for the evening. She informed us that they had dinner reservations at a steak restaurant on the ship. In response, Linda stated that they had not yet decided on their plans for the evening, but they were considering attending a comedy show. She mentioned that she had heard the show was excellent. She added that they would not be offended if Roger and I declined, but she asked if I would like to join them for some entertainment that evening. Roger interjected, stating that they were swingers. The 2 couples watched us expectantly. I was somewhat taken aback and attempted to formulate a polite response when Linda spoke up. She thanked them for the offer but stated that it was not for us. She then reached across the table and took my hands in hers, continuing, "I cannot share my partner." Both couples understood this gracefully, and we spent another hour with them shopping in the tourist area and finally returning to the ship together. On Friday afternoon aboard the ship, when the poolside bartender brought drinks, we encountered them once more. To Linda and me, Linda inquired, "Do you seem a bit off? Are you sad that the vacation is coming to an end?" I took a large sip of my fruity rum drink and nodded. "Tomorrow, we will return to reality and all the challenges that come with it." Linda stood up from her chair and playfully punched my shoulder. "Hey, knock it off," she said. "Our life isn't crap, everything's fine, babe." After a few seconds of silence, Linda spoke up again. "I've been thinking about something," she said, glancing at me to ensure she had my attention before continuing. "We initially decided to wait a few more years. Prior to becoming pregnant, is it feasible to alter the projected timeline?" I inquired with my wife about the rationale behind my recent contemplation of having a child. The prospect of having a child with her and expanding our family brings me immense joy. "How long have you been considering this?" I asked. Linda responded with a shrug and a gradual revelation over several months. "Can I inquire as to why you chose to broach this topic now?" She remained silent for a moment and then stated that in recent months, there has been a degree of discord between us. I am uncertain as to the exact nature of the discord. The issue is that I had assumed that the present moment would be an optimal time to discuss the possibility of having a child. I sensed that Linda was looking at me, but I waited a moment before continuing the conversation. From my perspective, the situation was more than just a matter of tension. It seemed as though you were distancing yourself from me, and I am uncertain as to the appropriate term to use, but it felt as though you were being untruthful with me. Linda then stood up from her chair and sat on its edge. She took my hands in hers and asked, "If you felt that way, why didn't you say anything to me?" "I did so on 4 or 5 occasions. I asked you if something was your responses were inadequate. On 2 occasions, you dismissed my concerns with a flippant remark about your job." Linda emitted a deep sigh. For the following minutes, we sat in silence, sipping our drinks. "I am aware that the cruise is a gift for your anniversary. However, I believe there is more to it. In fact, there is much more. I was concerned about losing you. I felt insecure. I thought that if we could distract ourselves and spend time alone together, our relationship might improve. However, when I looked at you, I saw tears in Linda's eyes. I observed that Linda's eyes reflected anger and disappointment. I exhaled and proceeded, "This week has been optimal, including this arduous dialogue. There is no rationale why our domestic life cannot be analogous. I am aware that our residence lacks the resplendent azure ocean and the opportunity to dance together each evening. However, we have each other." We were approximately midway through another round of beverages before Linda inquired about my initial question. I had to consider for a moment before I could smile at Linda and respond affirmatively. "Upon our return to our place of residence, we can discuss the possibility of having a we will, however, postpone discussion of the aforementioned topic for the time being and address other matters." On the final night of our cruise, we did not have the opportunity to enjoy a meal. Instead, we spent the entire night in a state of undress, perspiration, and semen. On the evening in question, as our vehicle was navigating Interstate 91 south of Bradley Airport in Connecticut, it veered off the road. We proceeded westbound on I-84 toward West Hartford. Linda inquired as to our destination. She expressed a desire to conclude our vacation in a memorable fashion. We were dining at a steakhouse. Linda embraced me and kissed me on the cheek. However, I was fatigued. Would it not be more convenient to return home and order in dinner at Fleming's? That would undoubtedly be the highlight of our vacation. We both laughed, recalling the significant events that had transpired over the past few days. I had something to share. I had prepared a special meal for her. Linda appeared fatigued and, I surmised, somewhat irritated, yet she did not object or complain further. I had reserved a separate table for us at the rear of the restaurant. We proceeded to take our seats in a booth with a high backrest situated in a secluded corner. The placement of decorative foliage provided us with additional privacy. After our drinks had been served, we raised our glasses in a toast to each other. I informed her that I had promised we could discuss certain matters. We proceeded to discuss the topic of children once we returned to the comfort of our respective homes. Linda's eyes widened, and her smile grew wider. "Really, do you want to talk about it now? Is there a more opportune time?" she inquired. Linda leaned back in her chair and fought back tears that were about to roll down her cheeks. I took a sip of bourbon and continued, "I had never before hoped you would have children." Linda looked at me in complete bewilderment. I nodded to the gentleman who had appeared nearby. A man who had appeared nearby approached and inquired as to whether she was indeed Linda Harrington. She nodded in affirmation. He continued, "You have been served." The gentleman then placed a manila envelope on the table, positioning it in front of Linda. He concluded with a wish, "Enjoy your dinner." Linda visibly trembled, her eyes darting between the envelope and me. "What is going on?" Chris asked. "What is the meaning of this?" The month-long affair with Kyle Jackson was a mistake that ultimately led to the dissolution of our marriage. It was a foolish and reckless decision, made under the influence of alcohol. Perhaps the first instance of infidelity was a drunken mistake during the business trip to Detroit. It's possible that we could have survived that incident, but were your weekly parties also a result of excessive alcohol consumption? You told me that this week was perfect, and that our life together could be just as ideal. I ask that you please forgive me. I implore you, Linda. You inquired of me yesterday as to whether our cruise was intended as a gift for our anniversary. I informed you that it was much more than that, and that it is now in the past. In the days that have passed, I have striven to instill in you a profound sense of my enduring love. I have sought to help you recall the memories of what we once had together and what you chose to turn away from. I have endeavored to help you remember the loving person you deceived and to let go of that memory. Please, Chris. Let us go. I suggested that we return home and discuss the matter further. While we were away, my brothers and their families removed all of your belongings from our apartment and took them to your parents' house. It is clear to everyone why you have taken this action. I replied that you have been doing so for nearly half of our marriage, yet you are now asking me, why can we not resolve this issue, Chris? I am confident that we can. You have the option of going to your relative's home or finding out where your boyfriend lives. His wife has initiated divorce proceedings, and you have disclosed to her that he has 3 children. I found this statement to be somewhat incongruous, given that you did not appear to be bothered by it previously. Let us conclude this discussion, Linda. I am fatigued and desire to return to my new bed. Upon observing her expression, I clarified that I was not seeking to return to my previous bed. Indeed, if you two were in our bed or not, I purchased a new one, just in case you were. I would never have denied it. I think she realized how absurd her denial sounded, so she didn't finish her sentence. All right then, hire a lawyer and review the contract. It stipulates a 50-50th split of all assets except the apartment. It was mine before we got married. You have 2 weeks to sign the papers. In the event that I do not obtain the aforementioned information, I must remind you that approximately 1 month ago, I requested your social media password. Upon our departure for the cruise the following morning, I accessed your account and changed the password. Consequently, you no longer have access to your account. Should we be unable to reach an agreement, I will post videos and photos of you and your boyfriend engaged in sexual intercourse on your account. These images will be made public, and they will demonstrate how you treated me. I will return the password. I took another sip of bourbon and finished my drink. It took me a moment to chew on the almost melted ice cube. Then I continued, there is a taxi waiting outside to take you to your parents. If you wish to go there, I will take my car, which is parked for me in the lot. I stood up and threw a $100 bill on the table, looking at Linda, who was crying. I said, I love you with everything I have. It is regrettable that the gesture was insufficient. I request that you refrain from contacting me via telephone, email, or any other means. I am not seeking any form of communication from you, except for the assurance of solitude. I promptly exited the restaurant, averting my eyes to prevent the onset of tears. I extend my gratitude for your presence and attention until the conclusion of this discourse. Should you have found this account engaging, I kindly request your subscription, like, and comments.